Warning, this video may contain content that may not be suitable for children or anyone else that is easily offended. Strong language, graphic content, nudity, bad jokes, and a possible idiot, aka myself, may be featured in the following clip. Viewer discretion is advised. Channel is not responsible for any damages that you receive watching this video. Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Zips, and welcome to 4 Scary True Craigslist Stories, Volume 6 by Mr. Nightmare. If you guys haven't already, be sure you swoop down to the description box, click on the link, go watch the videos in entirety while me pausing and stopping and talking through the whole thing. If you guys are not subscribed to Mr. Nightmare, I don't even know what you're doing, man. He's a really great content creator, very chill person, man. Please stop by and go show support. Also, you guys, thank you guys so much for the recent support, man. You guys are making me extremely happy, man. People from the UK, Germany, man, all these places, man. Thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your day to stop by and watch me. I really appreciate it. I can't say it enough. But for now, let's get it. I don't know, I'm feeling kind of generous. Let me know down in the comment section if you would like a live stream this weekend. Story 1 by Scott Levine.
When I was 17 and looking to buy my first car, I was on Craigslist every single day. I wasn't looking for anything fancy, just a beater car that could get me from point A to point B.
That's the place to find
My
it.
budget was $3,000 at most.
Not bad.
So the cars I was looking at were no newer than 03, 04. I found an ad one day for a 2002 two-door Honda Accord. It was listed for $2,000, and the mileage was under 80,000. So right away, I knew I wanted to check it out.
That's a steal.
The person who posted the ad lived a few towns over from us, a 20-minute drive on the highway. I convinced my mom to drive me out there to view the car after conversing with the guy over the phone. Originally, I texted him asking for details, but he ended up calling me. He sounded basically normal over the phone, actually rather polite. He answered some questions I had about the car and whatnot. And when he asked for my name and I told him Dan, he said, "Dan, what a great name. That's my name too." I laughed because it was the polite thing to do, but I just found it to be such an odd comment. Like everything about it. It almost sounded like he forgot his name was Dan because of the pause between "what a great name" and "that's my name."
The only red flag that I'm seeing right now is that he called him straight away, which kind of led me to believe that he didn't want to leave a paper trail, so he called him in order to be creepy that way, because you can't go back and trace a call unless you just get deep into an investigation and let the police know. But other than that, bro, that was a red flag.
It just sounded sketchy. Nevertheless, everything else about the call went fine.
That's my
So
name,
the next
too.
day, my mom drove me to the address the guy gave me. Getting off the highway and onto the streets, right away we agreed this was a trashy-looking neighborhood.
Stupid.
Bars on windows, graffiti under bridges. I was hoping the guy's place wouldn't seem equally sketchy.
Get out of there.
As we pulled up, it was. The entrance to the property was between 2 houses. It wasn't a driveway, just some low-key road that led into an inlet with 2 more houses. But there I saw it, the Honda Accord, which was in, I guess, what you'd call the driveway for this house. My mom and I stepped up to the front door and rang the bell. We didn't know if it rang or not because we couldn't hear anything, so I knocked. One of the windows opened out of nowhere, and a man's voice said, "Come inside, the door's unlocked."
Nah, bro.
I went to open the door, and my mom stopped me and whispered, "Are you sure you want to go in there?"
Yeah, there you go.
I said, "Yeah." I let ourselves in, expecting to be greeted by Dan. The inside of this place was kind of dark. Not a lot of natural light came in through the minimal windows.
And then he found out that Dan was Tyrone. Tyrone about to take all his stuff, bro. Or Keyshawn, whatever it was, bro. He rolled up in a hood, bro. You about to get clapped. There is no Honda Accord, stupid. Probably like a 1997 Volkswagen that doesn't even work and the battery's bad. And you're about to get clapped. If your mom says, "Are you sure you want to go in there?" 9 out of 10, mama's right, and it's time for you to back outside, bro. I didn't come in to have tea. I didn't come in to have biscuits and gravy, bro. Bring your ass on outside. Show me the car if I can be on my mighty way. I'm not going into no house, bro. Come outside. I need to see your face. My mom needs to get a description of you, because just in case you clap me, she could drive off and go get help. But if my mom drive off and leave me, I'll be kind of mad. No, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. I don't know. I don't know how I'd feel if my mom drove off when I was getting beat up. Like, how would you feel if you got into a fight and your mom just drove off?
"Hello?" I said. "Yeah, over here," a voice called. It was a deeper voice than I heard on the phone. "Dan?" I asked. "Yeah," he said. He began walking through the little kitchen, closer to his voice. My mom grabbed my shoulder and stopped me.
There we go.
She whispered in my ear, "We're leaving." The man's voice now came from beyond this door at the end of the kitchen. He called up, "Down here, we can do the transaction here."
Down here.
Mom and I left the house in a hurry. As we were hurrying to my car, a lady at the next building over called to us. She came hurrying down from her front porch, warning us not to go in there. Then she asked why we were there, and we explained that I came to buy a car, but that he was calling us into his basement. The woman said that she's been concerned about that man living next door for months, that she thinks he's up to no good, and that he constantly has random cars pull up in the driveway in the middle of the night. We asked if his name was Dan. She said she wasn't sure, but that she vaguely remembered the guy introducing himself as Mike.
Mike.
She told us to just get far away from the house immediately, and so we did. It It's disturbing to know my mom and I may have been murdered in that basement if we went down there. Like, how could we do a transaction before even viewing the car or
Right.
agreeing on anything? Better question why in the basement. The whole thing screams trap. I don't know what else he could have wanted to do to us, more specifically me, in that basement.
I don't know. Luckily, your mom was there, bro, because you would have got clapped 100%. Me, personally, if I'm coming to buy a car, why am I going inside the house? Does that make any sense to anybody down in the comment section? That's like me going to buy a roller coaster from like my carnival or something, and he tells me to meet him at a graveyard. Like, what? Why would I go to a graveyard if I'm gonna I'm trying to get a roller coaster? You get what I'm saying? Like, that is weird, bro. I don't know. Some of these stories just gotta be like, man, blessed mom, bro. Story 2 by Moshoff.
This actually happened to my best friend Chris. His family had just bought a new TV and they were thinking of just throwing their old one away. Chris's older brother John suggested to their dad Rick that they could sell the old TV on Craigslist to make some easy cash.
eBay.
Since the family never used Craigslist, John said he could set up the ad for him, since John's girlfriend used Craigslist before. So John put up an image of the TV with the description, used 55-inch Samsung 4K TV for $200.
What?
He also put Rick's phone number, so if anyone was interested, they could just call or text him.
200?
A week later, Rick got a call from a guy who introduced himself as Toby, and he said he was interested in the TV and wanted to know if he could come by the house at 10 o'clock that same night to pick it up. Later that night, while Rick, Chris, and John waited outside the house for Toby to come so they could help him load the TV into his car, Rick got a call from Toby, and he said he wouldn't be able to make it to the house because he was almost out of gas. So he and Rick agreed to meet in the parking lot of a Circle K. After Rick got off the phone, him, Chris, and John loaded the TV in the back of Rick's pickup truck, and they took off to the Circle K where Toby said he was at, which was 15 miles away from the house. When they got there, they pulled up in a parking space next to the gas pumps.
So you're telling me you can't afford gas, but you can afford a $200 TV? Red flag? Maybe his priorities are just bad, but 15 miles away and you can buy a $200 TV. Mind you, this is a steal. Even if I seen this, I wouldn't even go for the ad because it just seems too good to be true. A 55-inch Samsung 4K TV right now, that'll be going for like, what, $800-900 in stores right now, bro? Samsung is not cheap. $200, bro, that's a huge steal. And the fact that you can buy a big-ass TV, but you can't afford $5 worth of gas is a red flag for me.
A few minutes later, a tall, heavy-set bald guy with a goatee walked over to Rick's truck and said he was Toby. He told Rick that since the TV was big, it would most likely not be able to fit in his car, so he suggested that they could just follow him back to his house, and Rick agreed with him. After a few minutes of driving on the main highway, they got onto a back road, which looked sketchy because it was nothing but trees on either side of the road and it was filled with potholes. Toby texted Rick and said his house was at the end of the road. When they got to the end, the place that was supposedly Toby's house didn't even look like a house at all. It looked more like a tall, abandoned building. When they got out of the truck, Toby told them to untie the TV from the back so they could start unloading it.
This dude,
After they untied the TV, they turned around and saw 3 large men emerge from the back of the car, and they all pulled out guns.
And that's what,
including Toby. They threatened to kill them if they didn't give them all they had on them. Rick, Chris, and John didn't hesitate, so they all gave the guys their wallets and phones, and they obviously took the TV too. After taking everything they had, the guys got back in the car and drove away. When Rick, Chris, and John got home, Chris and John told their mom everything that went down, and Rick called the cops and told them the whole story, and even gave them the license plate number for the car since he memorized it.
oh, please somebody found him.
To this day, Chris's family never heard of any arrest being made.
I don't know, man. I think everybody's thought process is the same, and people believe that we live in some kind of world where everybody's just honest and loyal. But my thing is, right, look, you don't got gas, right? You don't got $5, you don't got $10, but you got enough money to get a $200 TV. Also, you drove there, right? Or however you got there, and then you drove to another location. So if you had enough gas to get there and enough gas to go back that way, then you had enough gas to come to me, right? That's one red flag. The second red flag was when he said, oh, the TV doesn't fit in the back of my car, so I'm gonna need you guys to go with me. 2, you knew that big ass TV wasn't going to fit in your car because it's a 55-inch TV, and you know your car wasn't that big in the first place. Why would you schedule to pick up a TV that you knew couldn't fit in your car? Third red flag is if you say you pulled up to a building, abandoned, tall, but it looks like no one lives there, bro, get out of there. You have more than enough time to back that vehicle out and get on your merry way, and that probably would have never happened, bro. I was about to say pull out the strap, but if it's 3 against 1, bro, you're just going to have to just let it slide, bro. It's not worth it. You're just going to have to give them all your stuff, cancel your credit cards and whatnot, and get back to it. But I think most of these can be avoided if people would just pay attention to signs early on. Story 3, Anonymous.
Back in 2012, when Craigslist was more popular, I'd say, my house was broken into and robbed. A bunch of things were stolen, like 2 TVs, my Xbox 360, all of my video games,
Damn.
my hockey skates, and whatever stray cash I had laying around. I had the police come investigate the house, but nothing that would help track the perpetrator, including fingerprints, was found.
Yeah, get cameras.
I gave them a list of everything that was stolen, but the cops in my county usually suck, and they didn't help at all. Now I had to replace everything that was stolen. Believe it or not, the most costly thing to replace would be the video game collection. But I was starting with the replacement TVs.
Uh-oh.
I went to Craigslist, and there was an ad that was posted earlier that day for a 40-inch Panasonic TV for a low price.
60?
Panasonic was the brand I had, so I contacted the seller and drove to his house that night. He let me into his disgusting home. It reeked.
Hell no.
The stains in the carpets and general messiness of the place didn't help. He brought me to this back room where the TV was. I examined it, and it was the exact TV that I had in my living room that was stolen. Then I started to look around the room, and I noticed another smaller TV that was tucked in the corner of the room, as well as an Xbox. The smaller TV looked exactly like my other TV that was stolen. I went to pick up the Xbox and checked the bottom of it for the specific long scratch in the case that mine had. And there it was. That was my Xbox. That was all of my shit. I
Damn.
looked at the guy, who had a confused look on his face, and I said, "Dude, you're the piece of shit that stole my stuff."
Why would you do that, man? You already, oh my goodness. You know what, like, at this point, bro, I know you confronted him, but what you gonna do, bro? You in this dude's stanky ass house. He's obviously trying to sell your stuff, and you're gonna confront him right then and there. You don't know who else is in the house. You don't know if he got family there. You don't know if he got a gun on him, and then you're gonna just straight out call him, be like, "Oh, cool. Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna buy this one. How much you wanna sell for that?" And he's gonna be like, "Oh, I want this much," right? So what you do is, you go like, "Okay, cool. I'm about to go to the ATM and come back and listen, call the police. Like, hey, I found a dude that stole my stuff. He lives here, blah, blah, blah." And then the police not only gonna give your stuff back, but you're gonna get your money back as well. Me personally, I'd be like, I paid $120. So even if I did pay like $60, I get an extra 60 on top of that because they're not gonna believe him anyway because he stole my stuff. And that's how you cash out, bro. And now 100% he's about to get into a fight or get clapped or some weapon's about to come out.
His expression changed. He played dumb and had an angry tone now. He told me to get out of his house and lifted his shirt, exposing his gun holster.
Oh my God! Damn, oh my God, I'm good. I cannot make, oh my God, bro. Give me my respect down there. Put some respect on my name.
I live in Texas, so he likely had a license to carry it. I left the house and called the cops. They arrived to the scene, but the man wouldn't let them in. He insisted they get a warrant and claimed that I was harassing him. I told the cops about my police report and the robbery and everything. They said they wouldn't be able to get a search warrant until the next day. I regretted not getting pictures while inside the room, but I wasn't thinking clearly in the moment. I was furious and I didn't know what to do. That night, while I was getting ready for bed and doing research about search warrants, lawyers, and different possible outcomes to this situation, I heard a window break downstairs. Immediately, I knew it was him. Following my instincts, I climbed out of my window and down to the small ledge under my window. From there, I jumped to the ground and ran to my neighbor's house. My neighbor let me in while I called the police. They arrived within 10 minutes. I handed the police my spare house key I had hidden on the side of the house, and they investigated the house again, guns drawn this time, and inside they found him, hidden under my bed. If that's not terrifying, I don't know what is. I said earlier that cops usually suck. Yeah, this was the one time I actually loved cops here. And yes, it was the man who posted the Craigslist ad. He actually broke into my house to kill me that night, as he had his gun on him. And why else would he be hiding under my bed?
He got it on him.
That doesn't sit well with me, even to this day. He was found guilty of breaking and entering with intent to commit murder beyond a reasonable doubt, and was sentenced to 10 years in prison.
Damn.
Even still, I moved to a new town and changed my number. I tried to strip any possible trail that could lead that man to me when he gets out. And I'm sure he's out by now for alleged good behavior. That's the part that scares me the most.
He's gonna find you, big fella.
All of this, over less than $1,000 worth of items. It actually makes me sick. I think Craigslist is one of the most dangerous places on the internet.
Oh, absolutely. Hands down. Yo, the killer was like, well, how much you want for the TV? Wait a minute. You're the guy that stole my stuff. I got it on me. I got it on me. Bruh, he was not playing no games, bro. I told you guys, man. He was not thinking clearly, man. I would have seen it and scratched it like, oh, man. When he kind of looked at me suspiciously, I'd have been like, oh, man, that's a nice Xbox. I've been meaning to buy one. How much is it? Like, oh, yeah, that's cool. I'm going to go to the ATM right back and bear back. He's like, oh, yeah, absolutely. Call the police. Tell him that's the dude that stole my stuff. And then boom, clap. But he went the other way. Now this dude probably got a hit list on him. Story 4. Also anonymous.
I once answered an ad posted on Craigslist for a free mini fridge under the free stuff section.
Free mini
I was
fridge.
setting up what people would call a man cave in my basement, and I needed a mini fridge for under the bar to store beers and other drinks inside.
I see.
I checked the address on maps, and the house was apparently waterfront. sitting over a tall cliff overlooking a huge lake. The person who was texting me said his name was John, but that he wouldn't be in the house, just his elderly mother. He told me when I got there I'd have to let myself in and go to the far right bedroom from the foyer, as his mom is hard at hearing and she's very slow.
Let myself
I thought for a second, what if instead of me answering this ad, it were a bad person and they totally took advantage of the situation? It sounded almost too easy to rob this old woman's house. Well, I coordinated a time with John to go to his mother's house around sunset, and I gotta say, as I pulled up to the long dirt path to the property, seeing that big house sitting at the top of the hill with the sun setting in the background over the cliff, it was beautiful. Before going into that house, I admired the view of the lake below for a couple minutes. Then I texted John that I was there. He repeated his instructions to just let myself in and go to the room to the far right, as his mom would be waiting in the bedroom. He reminded me she's very old and I'd have to do all the lifting myself. I said that's fine. I entered the house through the front door, which was left ajar. Right away I was hit with the smell of cotton. It reminded me of the smell of my grandma's house. I followed his directions and went to the door on the far right, which led me to a narrow hall. The house seemed rather large from first impressions. As I went down this hall, the smell of cotton suddenly shifted to this horrible smell. Literally, it smelled like death, like a rotting animal. I entered the doorway at the end of this hall, and the smell in that room was unbearable. That's because of the dead, rotting corpse on the bed. It was the rotting corpse of an older woman. It looked as though she'd been dead for a week or two. I wanted to throw up. I suddenly heard a loud, maniacal laughing from upstairs, accompanied with stomping in place. It seemed someone was in a room directly on top of me, simply stomping their feet to scare me, and it worked. I ran out of the house to my car, looked at the house one more time, saw a man at one of the upstairs windows. Then I realized there was another person standing at one of the downstairs windows, both of them wearing face masks, like the same kind of mask you'd wear now for the coronavirus. My phone started blowing up with texts all of a sudden, all of them in capital letters. The first text said ha ha ha, followed by we see you, look at the windows, then a bunch of emojis. The last text I got from him said come back inside, you forgot your fridge. I drove off the property, and while on my way home, I called the police and reported the dead body in the house. After they investigated the house and apparently confiscated the dead body, which had no signs of any stab wounds or bullet holes, police arrived to my house for questioning. I showed them the whole conversation and gave them the phone number, which I warned them was probably a fake number, and I was right. But an officer named Boris told me they'd still be able to trace the number even if it was through some kind of fake number app. So, a week later, I was curious about the status of the case. So I called the police station, but the woman who picked up the phone didn't know any information. That or she didn't care enough to look for me.
Probably
because
didn't
in general,
care.
she was just kind of rude.
Yeah.
I never read about or saw anything on the news about an arrest being made regarding this. So to this day, I don't know if the people in that house were caught, or if they were even responsible for that woman's death.
I mean, either they, I don't know, I can't pick that one. That one was kind of scary, bro, just going in and seeing a dead body. But that even sounds weird to me. My old mother that can barely take care of herself is there, but just let yourself in and just go in there and take the mini fridge. Like, who's going to leave their mom or grandma at home in that kind of condition and just let any random stranger walk in and just have their way around the house? You know what I'm saying? What's stopping them from knocking your mom or grandma out and taking everything that's in the room? I used Craigslist one time to sell my bike, but I took people with me, bro. I don't play that to sell my bike. But other than that, it's super sketchy. I don't really buy anything off the internet like that unless it's from the actual retailer itself or like eBay, and that guy got like a lot of good reviews and stuff like that. If you on eBay and you selling something and the price looks too good to be true, then this probably is. If you guys enjoyed this, man, let me know down in the comment section. I really appreciate it, man. This video is by Mr. Nightmare, so don't be afraid to swoop down to the description box, click on the link, go watch the videos in entirety. I'm gonna be pausing and stopping and talking through the whole thing. If you guys are new to the channel, my name is Reprisal Zebs, and welcome to the Crow's Nest. But again, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Let me know down in the comment section which video you thought was the most creepy.